Heart of the City's series sponsor is Investors Bank and Investors Bank Foundation.
Welcome to Heart of the City, a series on creative civic renewal.
Hola, I'm Karen Hernandez-Granzon, pastor of Westminster Presbyterian Church in Trenton. Here in the capital city, we'll discover Trenton Thunder and Art All Night, the Roebling Center redevelopment, downtown history and restaurants, the City Museum's Paul Robeson exhibit, and Trenton's urban agriculture. Thanks, and let's go. Ándale pues.
All the suspension bridges around the nation were built with wire that came out of this building.
The Roebling Wireworks building, part of Trenton's industrial past, is teeming with people and art. Called Art All Night, the 24-hour extravaganza is run by a Trenton-based nonprofit called Artworks. James Peoples is a board member.
There are over 1,000 artists represented in this show this year. Food, visual art, music, spoken word, demonstrations, glass blowers. Art All Night encompasses work from H4 refrigerator art to work from grounds for sculpture. What it tells you is that 20,000 people can come together around those three concepts: culture, creativity, and community.
Anthony Coluccio, a Trenton State College graduate and Artworks board member, returned to the city 7 years ago.
The Roebling Wireworks supplied the cables for the original suspension bridges in the United States, including the Brooklyn Bridge and the Golden Gate Bridge out in California. The building was built in 1901. It's 50,000 square feet.
Debbie DiArcangelo is a volunteer captain for Art All Night's early shift.
In the afternoon, we might have families, and then there are people more my age who finish probably around 10 o'clock, and then the really young people come in and they're here until 2 or 3. The history of the city is fabulous.
Volunteer Jacques Howard, a Trenton native and graduate of the Art Institute of Philadelphia, says repurposing industrial buildings like the Roebling is key to Trenton's growth.
We've got an opportunity to be more of a manufacturing base, not only going back to our roots of pottery or wire or steel, but also looking at the creative industries such as horticulture or culinary.
Both Jacques and James see arts as a core development strategy.
What I love about the city is its community, its creativity. That's proven to be an engine that has revitalized so many cities around the nation. So we're looking to use that energy to help push the city forward.
A 24-hour arts marathon that may be a blueprint for the city's future.
Nearby at the old Barracks, historian Richard Patterson and his tour guides recreate Trenton's dramatic history.
The old Barracks is right here in the center of downtown. When people are here, they're literally on the battlefield of Trenton.
This is pretty much the standard summer wear of a Continental soldier.
New Jersey is the cockpit or the crossroads of the Revolution. So many of the battles happened here. We're probably best known as the site of Washington's first great victory, the beginning of the turning point of the American Revolution. We were also a military hospital inoculating the army against smallpox. Everything that was going on between the occupied cities of New York and Philadelphia, well, those armies marched back and forth across New Jersey.
This is where all of our American history basically starts. I mean, the building that I work at is a French and Indian War barracks. So this was here before the Revolution. The steel mill around back is from the 1600s. There's so much history from 1750s all the way through to now. A really big part of how all of this sort of plays out.
Everybody should come down to their state capital. It should be everybody's second city.
Next to Art All Night is the Roebling Center development, including both residential and commercial space. Architect David Henderson.
This is Building 114, which was the shipping and receiving building for John A. Roebling Sons Wire Works. If we were here about 100 years ago, this would be full of spools of wire and railroad cars. Just imagine working in a space with this kind of natural light, views out into the city, transit station next door, like literally outside the window. I've always been interested in how do you create fabric that supports community.
He sees Trenton as the driver of development in Mercer County.
The millennials entering the workforce and housing market are looking for essentially urban environments, an authentic, diverse, walkable environment where they can live, work, and play in close proximity. Also, they're looking to take mass transit rather than have to drive.
Roebling Center residential lofts are scheduled for completion in 2017.
Trenton is a very tight-knit group of neighborhoods. I'm a transplant from Massachusetts. Getting to work in Trenton has been really a gift.
To revitalize a city, you really need education, you need arts, you need culture. James Kearney campus, situated at the heart of downtown Trenton on North Broad Street. We renovated at a building called Trenton Hall, and we put a fabulous fashion design program in there. This is the moment for Trenton. We have the leadership from the mayor, from the state, and then we have businesses who are committed to Trenton revitalization. We have higher education institutions like us and Thomas Edison State University working very closely together. We have people from all over. The energy is here.
This building was inspired by a building in Florence. It's named after Henry Cooper Kelsey, who built the building in 1911 as a memorial to his wife, Prudence. She was an avid collector of fine porcelain and china. On the second floor of this building, the Prudence Kelsey collection is kept. On the other end of the state capitol is a magnificent mansion, a Cruiser mansion, that was built by one of the Cruiser families. It's an important family in the history of Trenton in this area. It houses the John Watson School for Public Service and the Watson Public Policy Institute. Right next to it, we were able to build a beautiful state-of-the-art nursing education center, which is reflective of the old, magnificent architecture of the Capital District. I'm excited about the people, particularly younger people that are moving into the city. There's a lot of new residential development going on here, and I think the potential is unlimited.
Here in downtown Trenton, a conference on urban agriculture is underway in the Trenton War Memorial.
This conference is being supported by the John S. Watson Institute at Thomas Edison State University. We are celebrating our 25th year of working with urban centers across the state. We know, as we study urban ag across the nation, that there are opportunities to have urban gardens or urban farms within very small acreage. We really want the people who have been in urban communities for generations to feel involved in the growth and development. I would advise young people to get their hands dirty. Come out to the farms that are starting to pop up across the city. Learn by touching, by seeing, and by feeling.
Urban agriculture is the perfect marriage between health, business, safety, community, fun.
It's so simple, it's brilliant. A lot of governing body members may not be aware that this is a viable alternative to traditional businesses or traditional industries. It fills many needs. Job creator, revenue generator. You have a lot of these old industrial buildings, a lot of them from the 19th century, early 20th century, that can be repurposed into urban farming facilities. Whenever you can redevelop a property, you win on so many levels. It helps increase revenues for the town, creates jobs, and is a tax generator as far as business taxes and all of those things. We want to be the conduit to these companies coming in and getting into urban areas that have been struggling in the past, but are on the verge of a renaissance, and this could be part of it.
Jim Simon oversees urban agriculture for Isles, a nonprofit for community revitalization.
This is the Garden of 3 Points here in Trenton, also known as the Chestnut Avenue Community Garden. So this has been here for 35 years.
In neighborhoods across Trenton, Isles helps manage over 60 community gardens.
We have gardeners from all over the world. We've got folks who grew up in the South, grew up farming and gardening. We have community planning and development, which includes urban agriculture, real estate development, neighborhood engagement, vacant lot stabilization. You pinch that off like that, so you get some nice basil, really prune these back. We talk about the basic plants and their functions. You know, these are the leaves. What do the leaves do? They capture the sun's energy and they transform it into energy for the food. We talk about the plant's interrelationship with the soil and with pollinators like honeybees. We're doing what we can to really educate residents and help build demand for fresh, healthy food, whether it's in the community setting or in the schools.
Resident Andre Thomas recalls the history of the incubator garden just across the street from the Trenton Battle Monument.
When we were growing up, this was a concrete park, and we would hang out here, get in trouble, you know, as youngsters, young teenagers. When I look at this area, I think of transformation. The incubator garden took about a year to get going. It's peaceful. There's also seeing a process. When you plant something, you nurture it, and then you also harvest it. And things that you're harvesting, you're actually eating or giving away. I find pleasure in that.
Abdul Hakim is a participant in the Incubator Garden program.
I love getting into the soil and working with my hands and producing my own food. It's very spiritual. It's tranquility because it's just you and the plants. We're looking at okra. The okra will take about 2 months. The gardening is catching on because people want to produce their own food. Those plots right there, that's the area that you need to plant a square-foot garden. Not much at all. You can still utilize your yard.
Fahima Johnson got her green thumb from her grandmother.
Just to see my grandma out in her garden, it seemed like a paradise. She would be out there humming a song and digging and planting, and she loved it. I was born in Tuskegee, Alabama. That's where I learned how to garden. I have tomatoes and I have kale. This is called a curly kale. And then I have collard greens. You pick the lower leaves and leave the center leaves because they keep growing. They're ready to be picked again. Look how thick they are. And they're delicious. I roll them up and then I cut them on a cutting board. I like mine cut up like Mama used to do. To be outside and doing something I love and watching things grow. It's heaven for me. The world would be a better place if we all just loved each other and took care of the earth.
At the New Jersey State Museum, our geological history captivates paleontologist David Paris.
New Jersey is a very geological state. It's a great place to live if you're a paleontologist. There are 11 periods in which Earth history is divided that yield fossils. 9 of them are right here in New Jersey. The second biggest find in New Jersey dinosaur history, Dryptosaurus. The original one was from Gloucester County. This is a mounted model skeleton, and it was inspired by the famous paleo artist Charles R. Knight. He painted Dryptosaurus, 2 of them fighting. The State Museum was chartered in 1895. Everyone said, well, we need an educational facility, so they chartered the State Museum. New Jersey was already pretty famous for its geology, copper mining, iron mining for sure, and that's one reason that so much of the Revolution was fought here. It was no accident that Washington would spend his winters in a place called Valley Forge. The collection is so varied that we can put other people to work, we can have constant publications, research, and really bring these collections to the public. And here we are right in the Capitol, which is the best place to do that.
go up State Street to Trenton's City Museum, where attorney David Bosted is a museum trustee and curator of the Paul Robeson exhibit.
The name of the mansion is Ellerslie. In the 1840s, it was constructed by a Philadelphia industrialist as his summer home.
In the heart of Cadwallader Park in Trenton is Trenton City Museum. Museum trustee David Bosted is a lawyer, planner, and history buff.
General Washington won 2 great victories here, the first and second battles of Trenton, and the battle started right here, just down the hill from this mansion. Trenton had something that everyone wanted, which was power. Water power was the basis for the early steel industry. Trenton became a center for the pottery industry also.
David is curator of a special exhibit on Paul Robeson, singer, actor, activist, and Rutgers grad.
Robeson was the greatest athlete ever to attend Rutgers University. He had 11 varsity letters in 4 different sports. Great scholar, Phi Beta Kappa. Paul Robeson's older brother attended Trenton High School. We have the bus pass, the trolley pass that took him to the high school.
Robeson appeared in over a dozen films, as well as on Broadway and in London.
Paul Robeson's greatest role was surely Othello in serious drama. Many people, though, remember him for Showboat, where he sang, "Old Man River, he just keeps rolling along." Paul Robeson was an uncompromising advocate for civil rights as well as world peace.
David's own background as a regional planner informs his view of the capital city.
Trenton is a city of neighborhoods. The Trenton Council of Civic Associations combines over 20 different neighborhood associations. Everyone knows that George Washington was here, but so was Alexander Hamilton, future Secretary of the Treasury. He rolled his cannons right up the hill here from the City Museum into town, and those cannon were decisive in the Battle of Trenton. He was in his early 20s at the time, a very young man.
Sharing a passion for culture and history at the Trenton City Museum. Arm & Hammer Park on the Delaware River is home to the Trenton Thunder, a AA affiliate of the New York Yankees.
Trenton Thunder is one of the most stable teams in all of minor league baseball. We're already planning our 25th anniversary. It just speaks to the city itself for housing us and giving us a great place to play.
Director of Community Affairs, Vince Marcucci, describes the team's school assembly programs for grades K through 5 and a literacy program called Boomer's Book Buddies.
We went to over 30 schools in the area and spoke to them about reading, got them thinking about what they can do for their community to be a hero, not just in the city of Trenton, but all over the state.
Thunder fans support not only the players, but a golden retriever named Derby.
Any boy, girl, color, shape, size could be a hero. You can make a difference in your community.
The Trenton Thunder's affiliation contract with the New York Yankees goes through the year 2020.
We'll wrap our visit with 2 stories from the recent past. Passage Theater's Dancescapes in Cadwallader Park and the iconic Grounds for Sculpture on the former State Fairgrounds, 12 minutes from downtown Trenton.
Near the heart of Trenton, New Jersey is Cadwallader Park, 100 acres of rolling landscape designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. Today, the grass and trees are a stage for a performance extravaganza called Dancescapes, New Jersey. The goal is to connect people to the park through dance, theater, and environmental history. Choreographer Heidi Cruz Austin, former dancer with the Pennsylvania Ballet, has embraced the challenge of dancers outdoors.
They really wanted to feel the earth, the trees, the sky, the sun, everything, even the dirt underneath our feet.
Heidi and her husband, dancer David Austin, co-founded the Trenton-based company Dancespora in 2008. David grew up near Cadwallader Park.
My mother used to bring myself and my cousins and friends. Now I bring my own children here.
16-year-old trumpet player Alonzo Ryan accompanies the dancers with his own band, Rebop.
We're playing just completely improvised, organic music, and the experience, it's opening my eyes as a musician, as a songwriter, as a band leader.
Dancescapes was organized by Casey O'Brien, producer at Trenton's Passage Theater.
We thought, great, we'll get people to know the Cadwallader Park in a different way, hopefully inspire them to be taking part in the land and being good stewards.
Guided walks through the park emphasize history, the environment, and readings by Pulitzer Prize-winning poet Yusuf Komunyakaa.
I walk big-shouldered, my head raised proudly.
Passage Theater's environmental partner is DNR Greenway Land Trust, which protects lands near the Delaware and Raritan canals. Trenton native Jay Watson is vice president.
I spent a lot of time as a child in this park, and this park really shaped me and turned me into an environmentalist, basically.
DNR Greenway President Linda Mead believes with Casey that reconnecting citizens to the land is urgent.
This generation of children do not have the same relationship of experiencing the land, growing food, being outdoors after school. This is a way to reconnect them.
Really, it's about celebrating what we have here.
Creating an emotional connection to the land around us through dance, music, poetry, and history in a Trenton city park. At Grounds for Sculpture in Hamilton, New Jersey, you can count 270 sculptures on 42 acres of parkland. Located south of Trenton on the former state fairgrounds, the sculpture garden has long attracted tourists from spring through fall. But the recent opening of an East Gallery means live performances draw visitors indoors throughout the winter months. Community Events Coordinator Rena Perrone.
The East Gallery turned out to be an amazing performance space for us. Dance events, opera concerts, pretty much all the fun stuff happens in there.
Making their Grounds for Sculpture debut is Trenton-based Bohème Opera New Jersey. Pianist and co-founder Sandra Pucciati.
Wow, we're up here looking out at this beautiful gallery. The East Gallery is a fantastic acoustical venue, besides being gorgeous to look at.
Bohème Opera co-founder Joseph Pucciati grew up in Trenton and recalls the park's agricultural past.
As a kid, I remember coming here, 4-H club, that kind of thing. I was awestruck when I came here.
Grounds for Sculpture was the brainchild of Seward Johnson, sculptor and grandson of Robert Wood Johnson. His goal was to make contemporary sculpture accessible to everyone, including young people.
A lot of the events that we do here at Grounds have a strong educational element. We do high school, we do college, and we are free to school groups.
Visitors to Grounds for Sculpture encounter a full range of styles. From monumental abstract works by Strong Cuevas and Isaac Whitkin's Garden State, to Robert Taplin's giant fiberglass figures suspended in midair. And all around are Seward Johnson's astonishing bronze figures that embody famous paintings such as Monet's Terrace at Sainte-Adresse, Renoir's Boating Party, and Manet's Luncheon in the Grass.
Point and stare.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, I love
I nearly
him.
tripped on it, actually.
At dusk, visitors line up for a tram ride to view thousands of colored lights in trees throughout the park.
There you go.
On this former fairground, sculpture blends with the performing arts, outdoors and indoors, to form a creative place for all seasons.
I'm Karen Hernandez-Granson. Hope to see you soon in the capital city. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas.
Part of the city's series sponsor is Investors Bank and Investors Bank Foundation.